Daniel and this foreign king, because of the faithfulness of God and the miracles of God, this foreign king starts singing a worship song to the glorious, wonder-working God. But you know what? There's never been a shortage of people who recognize the wonders and the glory of God. And yet there's still, Jesus came and said the workers are few. He's calling us at this time. See, the issue is not, is he a God of wonders? The issue for these people in this last generation was, is he a God of wonders who wants to do wonders through us? It's a different question. It demands a different answer. Number 2, fear leaves you camping rather than glamping. I couldn't think of a better title. So, if you don't know what glamping is, it's just a very upmarket form of camping. But you see, what happened 40 years earlier is, and I'm not going to read the scriptures, you can see it all in Numbers chapter 13, verse 1 to 33. But they're standing on the foreign land. God has spoken. He's done all these miracles. They send 12 spies and some choice young leaders from the different tribes. And 10 come back with, well, actually, they all come back with one report. Let me read that one report. They all say this. They gave this report to Moses. We went into the land to which you sent us, and it does flow with milk and honey. Here it is. Here is the fruit. They all gave that report. But then it says, but the people who live there are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. We even saw descendants of Anak there. The Amalekites live in the Negev. The Hittites, the Jebusites, the Amorites live in the hill country. And the Canaanites live in the sea along the Jordan. Then Caleb silenced the people before Moses and said, we should go up and take possession of the land, for we can certainly do it. But the men who had gone up said with him, we can't attack those people, they are stronger. Verse 33, we saw the Nephilim there, the descendants of Anak come from the Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them. Ever felt like a grasshopper in your own eyes? Maybe you're sitting at your desk and saying, God's called me to start a business. But then you see the challenges, you see the hill country, and you go, but I'm just a grasshopper. Maybe you've thought, well, maybe God's called me to change lives and stories, or even preach the gospel, or just speak to my neighbor, and yet you start thinking about him, or you think about it, you were feeling good about it, but now you feel like just a grasshopper. See, that's what happened here. And I think it's because their process of decision-making to actually break camp was wrong. Let me tell you what their process was. They did a pros and cons process. Anyone ever done a pros and cons page? Line down the middle, pros. Land flowing with milk and honey, great fruit. Cons, Amalekites, Nephilim, giants, challenges, mountains to climb, river to cross. Decision, God provided us with manna and quail in the desert. Why should we go anywhere? He's providing for us. Looks pretty good. We're getting our food every day. Or also that we're pretty good at this desert thing. We're a whole generation who became really good at doing the desert thing. So we get good at it. We don't mind the dust on our face and the 17 layers of dust that has formed upon us because we got used to it, and it protects us from the sun that beats down on us every day. We forget the promises and we start making good and self-justifying why we shouldn't move. And so what happens is the cons start outweighing the pros, and the decision is made, stay in the desert, keep eating manna and quail, and die in the desert. What they forgot is that God is a God of wonders. Wonders who keeps his promises. See, they forgot that God defeated Pharaoh, and they forgot that God wanted to do wonders through them. See, it says in Deuteronomy 1:32, Moses is preaching back, and he says, in spite of this, you did not trust in the Lord who went ahead of you on your journey. It says you did the pros and cons, but you factored out one big thing called God. And I'm telling you, Christians, I'm telling you, believers, in 2019, many do the same. We do the pros and cons, and we look at the bank statements, we look at the thing, where should I live, what should I do, and we do the pros and cons, and we forget that there is a God of wonders above us, beyond us, who has done miracles before, wants to do miracles again, and doesn't want us to live in a desert anymore. He doesn't want us to be good desert dwellers who are able to get water from a stone. Oh, they couldn't even get running water in the desert, and God says, I'll take you to a land flowing with milk and honey. And they choose to stay. There's got to be something good about the desert. that they chose to stay where they were stuck. 38 years passed. And then they decide to go. And that's the end of the story. I've just blown the whole story if you didn't know it. But the next generation go. The next generation go, and you know what hasn't changed? The Amalekites haven't shrunk. And they haven't got bigger. They are still bigger than him. The mountains are still massive, and the river is still probably in flood. But God is great. And they can see their king, their miracle-working God. And for the first time, they see him. And every other thing, they don't seem like grasshoppers anymore because their king is above them and greater than them. You see, fear kills the call. It kills courage. It kills conviction to move when God speaks. I want us to be a people who hear God's voice, and courage rises up, and the call of God becomes a clear thing, and conviction, and men and women say, I'm moving to Joburg, or I'm moving overseas because God is with me, and God is calling me to tackle high mountains. Yes. We aren't called those, because you want to run, you will end up running around a desert. Unless God is with you and taking you into something of his promised land.